Hi, lovies. Back in the day, I used to do morning Facebook Lives and I called it Content and Coffee. And so I'm going to bring that back a little bit to a certain degree and do some more morning Facebook Lives that way for folks that are across all different time zones, those that are 6 or 10 hours or 12 hours ahead. You can catch these, and those that are behind me can watch them when you wake up. So there'll be a few more of these morning chats. But today is all about manifestation. I know a few weeks ago I shared that I wanted to talk about how I was able to create $50,000 for my business. And I really wanted to have this conversation because when I look back on the entire experience, I was not in a good place, emotionally, financially, all of that jazz. And before I kind of get into that, the thing that I really want you guys to get around my belief systems when it comes to manifestations is that the steps and the kind of ways that you can look at it work both logically and spiritually. So I'm going to share my philosophy and the steps both ways so that if you're like, listen, I'm not into this like spiritual stuff, then you can get how logically it makes sense. And for those of you who are like 100% like, listen, like this is me creating with the universe, then I also want to share that process with you because it also works spiritually. And I found that while I'm a spiritual person, sometimes my brain, because I'm human, likes to take over. And so I like having the logical flow in my back pocket so I can be like, listen, brain, you may not be wanting to listen to my internal being right now, but here's how it's going to work logically. Cool? So let me just walk you through really quickly the whole logical piece. So when you want something, whether it's you want to create a certain amount of money for your business or you want to go on a trip or anything along those lines, you typically have to start off by getting clear on what it is that you want in the first place. You have to know what you want. And once you're clear on what you want, you have to stay in a place where you are having everything working for you. So for example, when I am in a not so good place, when I am self-doubting myself, when I am trying to see every single step in the whole process so that I know it could work, so that I feel really good about it, I end up not taking action. And logically, that just doesn't work because if I'm sitting there spinning around or frustrated and not taking action, then I'm never going to get that which I really want. And so I really believe that when I am like, all right, brain, like you need to chill out, it's usually because I've clear that I want something. A fear comes up because it's like, oh crap, like I really want this. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? Blah, blah, blah. And then I have to kind of talk my ego and my brain into realizing that this can happen and here's what I need to do. So for that to work, there are a couple of things that need to happen. As I said, you need to get clear on what it is that you want. The next thing is to really stay out of the how. Naturally, you want to know like every single step and that it's all going to work and all that jazz. But one of the things that I believe is incredibly true about marketing and growing your business is that it's like a giant science experiment. So if you can really wrap your head around that, then you can start getting yourself out of the freaking how. And here's what I mean by a science experiment. When you're looking to attract clients or to grow your business in any sort of way, you start with like a hypothesis, essentially. Like you can say, hey, if I do this Facebook Live, I believe people will love it. And then, I'll pitch at the end and they'll buy. I'm making this up, but like that could be your hypothesis. And then within your hypothesis, there are a ton of variables. How many people show up to the live? If the live was really in alignment with what people wanted, if your offer was what people wanted, like there are so many different variables. What time of day you went live, like there's a million things. So, the reason why it's hard to know like the exact how of things are going to work out is because there are so many different variables. And so all you can do logically is just get started, get out there, start your experiment, and then start looking at the variables and make tweaks and adjustments along the way. And so that's how I logically talk myself through staying out of the freaking how. And what I also like to do is I like to feel really good about what it is that I want and open to receiving. Now, here's the truth. When you are in a financial struggle or in a not a good place emotionally, all that jazz, it is really hard to then go, oh, okay, I'm going to do this experiment on my business and then hope things work out. You're very much like, I need things to work now. And here is something that I did and have done in the past that I don't want anybody to feel bad about, because there are multimillionaires who have done the same. And I'll tell you about that in a second, because it'll help, hopefully help you. And what I do when I am at that place of like, oh my goodness, like I need the money and I'm freaking out, and is I take the pressure off. I go, okay, listen, I need the money, but it doesn't have to come from my business. There are things, or at least the business, the way that my business looks right now. There are things that I have experience in. I've been in marketing for 12 plus years. There are tons of people that want my skills and experiences. Like, you start thinking about what is it that you're actually good at. Talk to yourself that way, and then go, okay, how can I create the amount of money that I need and be unattached to where it comes from? And once you're able to start going like, listen, I'm open to receiving money in any way. I'm open to looking at other ways to bring this money or manifest this money besides making it have to come from this specific program. Because sometimes when you put the pressure that heavy on it, it doesn't happen because of typically you and your energy. So logically what I did is I was like, I need No Pressure Nikki back. No Pressure Nikki is freaking amazing. It's the version of myself that's just like, listen, like, you want to work with me? Cool. You don't? Cool. I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's an example of No Pressure Nikki. And so for me to be able to get No Pressure Nikki back, because I was looking to make a sizable investment in my business and I did not have the funds and I was stressing out about it, I just went, listen, how do I know how to make money really quickly? I've taught workshops and classes and boot camps because people love hearing how to do digital marketing, and I'm an expert on that. So I started doing workshops and teaching. I was like, I'll just throw up a workshop. People will pay for it and show up. That's something that felt really easy to me. And it wasn't necessarily like the construct of I need to sign clients. Then I also was like, before I started doing work with individuals like expertpreneurs or solopreneurs, I worked with larger companies. I worked with startups and even big companies, and I would take consulting contracts and help them grow their business because I had an area of expertise. And I was like, you know what would totally take the pressure off so that I can invest in my business in the way I want to, is I'm just going to find a consulting gig. And like, I put it out there. I said, I feel really good about taking the pressure off of my business by doing a consulting project that allows me to still work on my business, but brings in a sizable amount of money that I can then reinvest. And so I started going, okay, like, I am going to go after those two opportunities. And I said to myself, I'm not going to, for those of you just joining, I'm going through the logical side of manifestation. I said, I'm going to do this in a way that doesn't take forever, because I wasn't willing to spend like a month or 2 months or 3 months looking for this gig to take the pressure off, because that just wasn't going to help me. So I was like, you got like a week. I think I gave myself 2, but a week. You're going to go, you're going to get a consulting gig. It's going to be great. You're going to teach a bunch of workshops. Money's going to come in. You'll take the pressure off your business and you'll reinvest. And so I literally put that out in the universe. And to let you guys know what happened to me from a logical standpoint, I took action. I reached out to places I've taught before for teaching gigs. I put my own workshops on Eventbrite and started marketing those really quickly. And then I went on to LinkedIn, and I happened to see a friend post that their company was looking for a consultant to come in for a certain number of months. And we worked together literally like 12 years ago. And I messaged her, and then bam, that came in and I took the pressure off. Now, those are things that I did in the step of like, you gotta feel good. You gotta feel good, and then you gotta take action. And then from there, I was at a place where I could manifest $50,000 for my business. So I'm not even including the money that I brought in from the big consulting project or the teaching when I was in this space, because logically I was in a place that was like, oh, okay, like, I'm here for you. I want to know where you're at. I want to make sure that you're the right client for me. And I would see people and be like, oh, not right client. And I'd see other people and be like, oh my goodness, you're an ideal client. And I kept going, I would like more of these clients. And I kept putting myself out there and connecting with people. And next thing I knew, I had brought on a number of clients. So that is the logical route of manifesting. I'm going to walk you through what one does spiritually, and then I'll talk to you specifically about the things that I did that really helped me. So spiritually, I love this. I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks. Esther and her husband have done some amazing workshops that I've watched live. And I pretty much listen to them on YouTube all the time. And one of the things that Esther said about manifesting that has worked for me throughout my career, which has made things super simple, is that there are only, let me see, I have it on my wall, 4 steps. The 4 steps are: 1, you ask for something. So this goes back to the logical side, like you got to get clear on what you want and ask for it. So you have those steps, same, you got to ask for it. Step 2, she's like, you actually don't have to do anything. This isn't your work. This is where the universe is doing their magic. So you ask for something, the universe is doing your work. On the logical side, this is what I call get out of the how. Like, stop trying to figure out exactly how you're going to do it. Just be clear on point A to point B, and you kind of take little mini actions along the way and you get there, because it's a science experiment. Step 3 is all about, let's look, the art of allowing and being in vibrational alignment with what you want, which is all about feeling really, really good with what it is. I know, babe, I'm doing an early one. Step 3 for manifestation is all about feeling really good. And if you remember what I said, if you're going to be logical about it, sometimes you have to take the pressure off. And so if you need to take a side gig, if you need to, do some part-time work or anything that's going to really help you take the pressure off, then don't be, how do I describe it? It's like, don't beat yourself up over it. Like, this is a business and you're in it for the long haul. And one of the things that, like, there were times in my business looking back where I was like, oh, if I just had like an extra 2K, my life would be better. And I could have easily taught some classes and had that extra 2K, but my ego was like, no, you have to like get the 2K from your business and you have to sign a certain amount of clients. And look at so-and-so, they're making like 50K months. And like, look at so-and-so, they have a 6-figure business already. And like, I was so wrapped up in looking at where other people are, I wasn't able to do what was best for me. So step 3 is just make sure you're feeling good about like what it is that you want, and you just feel good in general. So do whatever you need to do to feel good. It makes a huge difference. Again, whether you're looking to manifest, that would be the equivalent of like being in vibrational alignment with what you want. And if you're going logical, you can't make stuff happen if you feel like shit. Like, it just does not work, So do whatever you need to do to become the no pressure version of yourself. Pick up a side gig, take on a consulting project, teach a course, do whatever is going to work best for you so that you can take the pressure off. And then the 4th step is from the manifestation side, is to get really good at the previous step, which is feeling good all the time. And on my logical side, it's all about like making sure you're consistently taking action. Regardless of whether you're looking at manifesting from a spiritual or a logical standpoint, you have to take action. But the steps are all pretty much in alignment with each other. It's get clear on what you want and ask for it. Stay the freak out of the how. Feel really, really good and do whatever you need to do to feel really good. And then take action and let the universe do its magic. So that's the basics of manifestation for you guys to get. Now, to give you a little insight into what my life looked like before and after I brought in the 50K, let me tell you a little bit about where I was. So I had gotten to a point in my business, and I think this happens to a lot of people, where you're just like, I don't know if I can keep doing one-on-one. Like, I love supporting people, but sometimes it's just like, it becomes a lot of work and it eats up a lot of hours. And I was at a point where I was like, 1, I want to do something else that frees up some of my time. 2, I felt like burnt out a little bit, not gonna lie. And 3, like the flow wasn't happening. Like, the people weren't coming the way that they used to. Usually I would take the same exact actions and people would come. And what I realized is that I wasn't actually taking all those actions that I normally do, but that's a story for another day. But I was at a point where I was like, 1, okay, like, I have no idea what I'm going to do here. Like, I would like to invest about $20,000 into something. That's, I was very clear on that. I wanted to invest $20,000 back into my business doing something in particular, and I didn't have the money, and I was stressed out about it. I was freaked out about it. And then to add on to the fact that I didn't have that money, I had, how do I put this? I had been seeing a decline in my business. So I was just basically being able to live. And so I'm like, I can't even invest like an extra $5 back in my business because I need to make sure that I don't run out of money. You know, when you work for yourself, sometimes it's like this, like it's not always, I will consistently have 50K months every month. It's not always like that. And for most people, I would say like 80% of entrepreneurs, it's not like that ever. So, I was just in a place where I was just like frustrated, and I was trying to figure out, like I was spinning my wheels, that place I described earlier. I was just trying to figure it out. Like, okay, what should I do? What's going to work? Who can I reach out to? How can I make this work? And I was spinning. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. Excuse my language. I was like, I can't keep spinning. I need to take the pressure off. And that's why I honestly went out at the time to look for a big consulting project where it's just like, hey, help this startup or help this big company for a few months, grow their business, give them like build their strategy and all that jazz and get paid really well for it. So I went out to do that. And I, like I said before, I started teaching, and the craziest things started happening. One, I was just feeling like in such a good place. I was like, okay, I don't need to stress and worry about money right now. And when I was in that place and I was still marketing my business, my audience and people that I would meet in person would be like, oh my goodness, like you do exactly what I need. Can we talk about it? And I'd be like, sure. And then I'd have a conversation. It was no pressure, Nikki. And I literally in one day had multiple people email me with the subject line, I'm ready to work with you, or something, some variation of that. I was sitting there and I was actually on the train going to visit a friend, and I'm like, I guess I need to like send links for payment. I'm like, this is so crazy. And it really came from that place of no pressure. And so whether you're in that like spiritual, no pressure, like how do I do it? Or you're in the, I need to take the pressure off financially, taking the pressure off makes wonders for your ability to create and manifest your desires. And so some of the things that I did to take the pressure off spiritually, so yes, and emotionally more. Yes, I told you I took the consulting projects and things like that. And then a flood of clients came in for my one-on-one business. And that's where the 50K came from. Or not just one-on-one in group, but that worked out. I started doing things like I would listen to Think and Grow Rich on YouTube every single morning when I woke up, and I'd listen to it when I went to bed. Like that was playing in my head. And then to add to that, I would Google or look on YouTube for Abraham Hicks videos, and I would just listen to law of attraction, vibration, people sharing their stories. And it was just keep hearing Abraham over and over and over again, talking about go general. Like when you feel like you want something so badly and you're starting to get like those spinning negative feelings about it, go general. Like get to a point where you're like, oh, I feel really good about this. And you may want this thing up here, but you got to feel good out here. You need to go, okay, I may want to have a 50K month so badly, but that just stresses me out so much. So maybe I'll just start thinking about like, I would love to just support people that are really looking to create a new stream of income for themselves. Like I want to help them make that happen. I want to help them transform their lives. I want to help them create more wealth and abundance for their families. Like I would start there and I would just stay in that. And then over and over again, things started working out for me. And so when you are at a place wherever you are and you really want to create something for your business, I really encourage you to find ways to take the pressure off so that you're in a calm, good place. Because whether you're like, woohoo, it helps me with the universe if I'm in my vortex grid, or if you're like, woohoo, I'm like in a good place emotionally and I feel stable and calm so that I can take the right actions for my business. Whichever way you want to look at it, you got to take the pressure off. You got to find the no pressure version of yourself. And if you walk away with nothing else, I would like you to start thinking about how you can take the pressure off. There is nothing wrong with it. And I have my own feelings about this industry because I worked in startups. I worked in big corporations. I worked in other businesses. And when it comes to coaching, oftentimes, and most people talk about how much money they've brought in, and it could impact other people in a negative way. It can also be incredibly inspiring. And that's the piece of it that I'm really tapped into and connected to and what I love. But you can also have people freak out like, oh my goodness, why am I not bringing in this amount of money? So I really encourage you to not only take the pressure off, but be where you are. Don't worry about how long it took somebody else to get to 6 figures, to 7 figures, to 8 figures. You are on your own journey, and you are here to make a difference in the world, and never forget that. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you guys today when I wanted to do this video, is that I was able, if you want to boil it down, to manifest money because I took the pressure off myself, emotionally and financially, and I kept getting myself in a good place by ODing, for lack of a better word, on Napoleon Hill and Abraham Hicks, and really good music that made me happy. And that's essentially what I did. And I took action. I connected. I still connected with people. I still made offers. I just was the no pressure Nikki version of it. And that seemed to attract more people to me. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Think about how you can spend the rest of the next couple of weeks, the next month, this quarter, really thinking about how you can personally take the pressure off and how you can get into a good place. And remember, if you are going to say like, okay, I'm going to take on a part-time job or a consulting project or something like that, don't give yourself an eternity to do that, because then that becomes your full-time job. You want to make sure that you are still taking action and growing your business, but you're also trying to get yourself, the intention would be to get yourself in a good place. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I love you guys so much. I am going to go live late tonight. I'm trying to adjust some of my days, especially for the summertime, because I want to spend more time like with friends and doing some other stuff and still have time for my business. So I'll probably be going live mornings and evenings for the summertime. But as always, you can catch the replay. Tonight at 8, I'm going to go in deep on how you multi-passionates, myself included, are able to actually build a brand around all of your different passions, how you can make different types of businesses work. And I'm going to talk a little bit about MLMs, just because I've seen a trend in the industry of a lot of people signing up for them and integrating it into their business. And I think it's something that not a lot of us talk about. So I will be doing that as well. If you are just joining, I'm going to log off and you can watch the replay. I love you guys lots, and I'm going to go eat breakfast with the fam. So talk to you guys later. Bye.